So yeah, no, just tell me about yourself real quick. You know, how would you like to be like what name do you want to be called? Anything you want to just, say right now in general?
My name's Aspen. I'm 28 years old. They, them, or he, him pronouns would be great.
Gotcha, gotcha.
I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know what else there is.
That is fair. That is fair. Is there anything in particular you want to shout out real quick?
Uh, Follow me on Twitter and on Blue Sky, I guess. That's where I'm most active now. Same username as here.
Night Fury Scream. Okay. Um, I will call you Knight for sure, or not shirt, short, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
All right. Damn, my avatar looks so small compared to yours. I'm like right at your fucking stomach, bro. Damn. Okay. Okay. Are you ready for the first question? How did you become a Therian?
Well, um, it's my opinion really that like you don't really become a Therian, you just are a Therian. Uh, as to how I figured it out, I guess like there's a part of me that's always felt like out of step with being human, I guess. And it's been a part of me since I was like really young. Um, but I mean, it took me for forever to figure out what it was exactly. Um, but eventually, I mean, I think I was maybe, God, 20 when I figured it out, and it's just like, oh, everything makes sense now. I've always felt like not quite fitting in with everybody. Um, Obviously, I'm also autistic, so that kind of muddied the water a little bit, but I felt that there was more to it than that, I
Right, right.
guess.
So you had like the qualification, not the well, qualifications, but like did you like act out in certain ways that would be portrayed for certain animals as well, or?
When I was younger, I mean, a lot of it was very internal, feeling connected to certain animals in ways. Like, I don't know if you've seen The Lion King. I mean, you probably have. Everyone's seen The Lion King.
Right.
But the hyenas are always depicted as the bad guys in that. And I just, I don't know. I always felt like this really strange empathy towards them, very much so. And I mean, that could be a lot of things, but for me, it's like, oh, well, maybe that's part of me that I'm actually, part of me is hyena.
You just
And
had like a
then
really strong connection
same with,
to it in a certain way.
yeah, like a super strong connection. And like, it's like almost like a kinship, I guess you could say. And the
Gotcha.
uh, same thing with like reindeer and caribou. That's just another one that, another animal that I feel is a part of me.
So, how young exactly were you whenever you like started to like I guess sense that you're it's a spiritual thing, right? That you're like spiritually like an animal that you're supposed to be or
For me, it is not for everybody. I mean, there are some people who feel it's very much a neurological thing. For me, it is spiritual. At least in part. I'm very much a believer in science, but I do believe in spirituality as well. So for me, it is a spiritual thing. But as far as for how young I was, I mean, it's been my whole life. I can't remember a time where I ever really felt fully human.
how did you become a Therian?
It was kind of hard to discover that at first because, how do I express it? It kind of comes to you after a while. You realize, you have certain mannerisms, certain feelings inside of you, and then when you can't really articulate it at first, but then you discover, then that's when, for me personally, this is a more personal experience for me, when you discover, holy cow, therianthropy, the feeling, where your soul, your spiritual being is not connected with your human being. That's what that is. You're not just like someone who's, you know, oh my God, I'm bad at articulating myself. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
It's
You go ahead.
it's basically one soul is not connected to the human body. They feel a deeper connection to an animal of sorts, and I, for one, discovered that when I realized, holy cow, I've been really connected with snakes and horses and other animals and such, and I don't really connect well with people. And that's not just a, Therian thing. That can be other people too who just, do better with animals and such. But more of a connection to animals, more of a connection to nature than one would have with humanity. Humanity, if I find it much harder to connect with human beings. That is my dog. I'm sorry about the noise in the background.
No, it's all good. It's all good. If I may ask, so what like because you said that you have a bigger connection with snakes and horses. I think you said horses, right?
Yes, horses.
Snakes and horses. Okay. Is there something about them specifically, like because you don't feel it for other type of animals? What do you feel exactly whenever like is it like whenever you're closer to snakes, or did you like grow up with them or something, or?
S- So, I did grow up with a lot of snakes. I grew up horseback riding, but as I, got older, I wasn't able to connect a lot with it. But when I do, you realize how much your soul aligns with that of a horse's soul. You want to be free. You want to be out and about also as well. Like you want to be in a world where you can just be active and run and just kind of be yourself in a sense. It's so when I realized, like, these things that horses do are like, they're active, they're free, they're loud, they're very loud, like me too. I can be one very loud. Not me totally not getting a noise complaint a couple days ago.
Wow, really?
But yeah,
Damn.
nah, I'm just kidding. But yeah, horses like it's like you kind of figure out there's a part of your personality, a part of you that aligns with that animal. That's kind of how you discover your stereotype. Like the Therians identify with a stereotype, and that stereotype could be any animal that they feel any type of spiritual or psychological connection to. For me, I feel like it's kind of a mix of both. Like the psychological connection of wanting to be active and run free like a horse, but also kind of being more skittish and aloof like snakes, like specifically pythons. I don't know exactly what type of snake or species of snake would be my stereotype because I'm still trying to discover that. I've only identified as a therian for around 2 years now,
Right.
and I, for one, I'm still discovering myself. It's a lifelong journey. Not a lot, not all like not all like parts of the therianthropy are permanent, and it's a really complicated system too. Like heck, it's like any other spiritual or religious ideology. It can contradict itself.
So how would
But
you like to introduce yourself?
um, I guess the way I'd usually introduce myself is I'm Lunix. Like my channel is like your local woodland fox, and that's pretty much it. Um, yeah,
All right, all right. We ready to get on to the first question?
yeah, 100%.
All right. How did you figure out you were a Therian?
So the funny thing is I spent about like I was researching to do with furries and stuff, and then I was like, oh, there's another thing called like otherkin, and I was like, oh, maybe I should check that out, and then I realized all of the experiences were the same as mine, and the only hard part was figuring out, oh wait, I am most likely this, and then it became like because I used to always pretend I was like a wolf or something, and then I end up realizing, oh wait, I'm a fox. But that's literally it.
So, what forum? Like, you said that you went onto like a forum or something, and you found out, or
No, I just did some soul searching and just
oh, soul
like
searching. Okay,
watch some YouTube videos about it and realize, oh wait, this is me. I see
so
myself in this.
you've always had like a deeper feeling when it came down to foxes.
Yeah, definitely. That it wasn't hard figuring out about the fox part. It was hard figuring out that I am different from everybody else, and everybody else will find me weird for this. But I don't care.
What does it feel like to be a Therian? A lot of them say that they feel trapped, or you're saying that you never felt like fully human and such. Could you go into that for me?
It's it's hard to explain to people who haven't been through it, but I'll do my best. It's very much as far as like a day-to-day thing, it's very much just like, you have some of the same instincts and urges as like, walking on all fours, wanting to run when you see an open space, that kind of thing, and then like feeling very out of step with your own body is a part of it for a lot of people. But it's also this just like this heavy hyper empathy for me anyway with the species that I feel that I am. And I mean, I know,
Right.
I know I'm physically human and I have the mental capacity of a human, but there's something else that's just there constantly.
Gotcha,
And I
gotcha. Okay.
can't, it never goes away for me anyway.
So when you see the field, is it only in person, or is it like when you turn around and you see the field, and is that also something that could drive an urge, or
it's it's both. It's both. It's absolutely both. And I mean, like this, a space like this, so like where we're standing here in VR, even is it's very much. It feels like,
home in a way, maybe, or
yeah, it feels home. It feels like some level of freedom, I guess you could say.
that is interesting. That is interesting. Um, I don't know if I don't know, I don't think I said it, but um, most people, as you mentioned, that you're just kind of born as a Therian. Statistics shown that most people like at least show like that they're a Therian, or are becoming one from the ages of like I think it was 11 or 12 to 18.
Yeah,
So it's like
yeah.
is there like a big jump from growing up? Like, did you have like big jumps from that? Like, did it feel more natural the more you grew up along that time, or
I think I went through a stage of suppressing it for a while. Just because like I was trying so hard to fit in with everybody around me. But I think as I did get older, and especially once I hit adulthood, and those ideas of like, because high school's rough for everybody.
it is,
But
yeah.
once I was out of that environment, it was a lot easier to let go of the judgment that other people might have about me.
Right.
Because it was around the same time I realized too that I was trans, and so a lot of things were going on, but I think all of that just it all came together and it allowed me to more or less free myself from the judgment and expectations of everybody around me. And now that I'm pushing 30 in a few years, it basically anyone's judgment pretty much means nothing to me anymore,
You're completely free now.
and it's helped a lot. Hmm?
You're completely free now.
I wouldn't say completely, but for the most part, it's gotten a lot easier. It's gotten a lot easier.
The second question.
Sure.
All right. What does it feel like being a Therian? Because a lot of Therians say that it's like, or at least from what I've read, that they're very trapped in their own, very claustrophobic in their body or something like
The
that. In a
human
sense.
body, yeah. I would say there's definitely that feeling of like, oh, I have to be a person. I can't like be a snake or a horse. Like there's this feeling that your soul is trapped and you want to be free. Like if you're sitting in like a car, you go down like the highway, like normally you just look out the window and you're like, this is a really goofy example, by the way, I'm sorry. But like, I just sometimes you get lost in your own headspace, you close your eyes and you just imagine running in those fields as like a horse or an animal. Like you just want to be out there and not
Right.
trapped in here.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's fair.
it's
When you
that's why
look
you
at
see a lot
the,
of Therians. Oh,
oh,
you
I'm
were
sorry. What
saying?
was it? Do
I
you
would say
like
that's why you see.
Oh my God, we did it again. Here. I'll just let you speak. I'm sorry.
Yep,
Okay,
you're
okay,
good.
okay. I'll go. Do you look at the field behind you, and does it also kick in like virtually, or is it just like in person? Would you say that you would wanna
Oh,
that
that's
you had that
actually
feel?
interesting because like looking at this field, I can imagine it, but due to its kind of PS2 feeling, it doesn't really have that like feeling
The
where it triggers that like
Yeah.
back of your head. They're called shifts where people will their souls kind of shift and they feel more animalistic in a sense.
Is that what phantom
That
shifts
would
are?
not though that's what the shifting is called. But yeah, this right here, this whole setting would not cause any shifting. It's too artificial. It'd be like putting a horse in a plastic box.
What does it feel like? What does it feel like being a Therian? Can you go into depth about that?
Um, Actually, I can. So there's different types of shifts. There's mental shifts, phantom shifts, and spiritual shifts. Phantom shifts is when you can feel like your stereotype, like a tail, ears, um, fangs sometimes, um, and sometimes you like want to do stuff to accommodate that. Like with fangs, people like chewing on things usually. I don't know if that's for everybody, but it's for me. Mental shift is when so there's voluntary and involuntary. Voluntary is when you're able to like choose when it happens, but involuntary is like oh
It just
it
happens
basically
randomly.
gets the feeling gets overwhelming and then like before you realize it it just happens and there's nothing you can do about it until it's over.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. What does it feel like for you? Because a lot of Therians say that they feel trapped inside of their body. Would you say that's the same thing for you?
um y- Pretty much it's more like you don't feel right and you feel like you just don't want to be like this anymore, like you'd prefer to be your stereotype, like that's for every Therian, I'm pretty sure. And to set the record straight, you are not able to choose. Like this is you're born like this.
Third question. What activities do you participate in when doing Therian things?
So I used to do what they call quadrobics on occasion. It's basically, I don't know if you've heard of it,
Yeah, it's where you're
but
on all fours, or like you exercise your
right.
body in order to actually be like the animal you want, or such. Or
Pretty much, yeah. It's basically just like exercise that's on all fours. It's not just a Therian thing, but a lot of Therians do it. Um, I can't really anymore. My knees are bad, but and my back and everything is just it's like I'm not really very good with it anymore. But for the most part now, I do express my Therian side through the furry fandom. So I'm also a furry, and basically like being in a fursuit and drawing art of my persona and everything because one of my stereotypes is a caribou and so is my persona. So that gives me a very good outlet to express myself and that side of myself. in a way that's, safe and that other people also enjoy.
I do notice that a lot of Therians also, or maybe not a lot of them, I'm not too sure. I think it's kind of rare to come by Therians because there's not a really big percent of them in the world. But
Yeah,
some
we're
of
rare.
them, yeah, I would say very rare actually. The percentages are, I'll have to show the percentages up on the screen, but it's very, very rare. And
Yeah,
is there
it's not
any?
common.
Yeah, I was about to say it really is not, and I don't know if there's a lot of Therians that do this, but at least some of them that I know would like to wear like collars in public and like masks and tails or such. Do you ever do anything like that, or?
I don't. Partially because I live in a rural town. And there's a lot of conservatives around here, and it could be a safety hazard.
Right.
Um, but I also I don't know, I never really felt as much of a draw to like wear a tail and ears and a mask in public all the time. Since it's not my thing. If I'm gonna go and dress up in a way that's animal, I'm gonna put on a fursuit and go like the whole 9 yards.
You gonna go to FurCon and
Otherwise,
everything, or?
Yeah, exactly.
What activities do you participate in when doing Therian things?
Therian things. I love that. So therianthropy is a very expressive identity, and people will go from, painting artwork of the animal they identify as. I've seen many artists will like paint beautiful paintings of their stereotypes in the wild doing natural activities. So simple things like that. And then there's Therians where you've probably seen a lot of people's first introduction will be the Therians on TikTok, which I would not recommend TikTok as a resource for information on therianthropy. A lot of the individuals are either very misinformed or just discovering their identity and are, you know, it's very murky water in TikTok. I would recommend YouTube and internet forums for understanding that, but most people are introduced to the TikTok Therians, where you see a lot of people practicing what is known as quadrobics, or in lack of other terms, running on all fours like animals. It's one of those ways that they try to alleviate the sadness that they feel when they can't be the animal they strongly want to be. Like, they also, in for me personally as well, they can also explore um expression through dressing up. A lot of them will partake in creations of masks, and they'll wear tails, like actual taxidermy tails, and a lot of them are very like a lot of Therians are very particular about where they get these taxidermy tails. The ones that you put on like your belt, a belt. You'll probably see it sometimes where people will put like a raccoon tail on like side of their belt just as a fashion statement. But, Therians put it on them as a way to like express identity. I've actually seen it in public too, which, I've done that in public as well. And it's usually just people will see it as a clothing item for a Therian. It might help alleviate the sadness and feeling you get while
Right.
being a human. Yeah.
I've also seen people wear like collars and such. Have you also done that with a mask and ears or such, or?
The collar thing for me is definitely something not, I don't know, it's kind of like every Therian has a way of expressing themselves through clothing and wearing clothing. I, for one, due to the identity I have, would not wear a collar. That, and like I have really sensitive skin and some sensory stuff, so I would probably not tolerate the nylon thread of most collars, or like a leather collar. Those things are not my thing. I am actually a part of the furry fandom, and I would probably wear one of those for that type of reason. But when it comes to therianthropy, I mostly stick to just wearing the handmade masks.
Third question. What activities do you participate in when doing Therian things? As Therians do like quadrobics, as it's called, do you wear like
Okay,
a certain
so
attire?
this is really funny. So I tried quadrobics and I can't do it. I'm trying to learn, but I can't do it. So the stuff I usually partake in is mask creations. I can send you some pictures if you want to put it in the video.
Sure,
So I do
sure.
mask creations. There is a certain style. There's like Goblin Core, Nature Core, and some others. My style, I feel most comfortable in Nature Core. And oh, what else? There's definitely some comfort in Therian meats, which I don't know if you'd class that as an activity. Like, I'll leave that up to you, but it's like everybody meets together in a certain place and just hang out for a bit.
Right. And like they do.
And that's really all there is.
Right, and so they do they like because I know some Therians what they like to do is they like to talk about like as if they're in a pack, it seems. Like, do they just get together and do like, for example, if they all like identify as a wolf, they just quadrobics and do wolf things pretty much, or
It definitely depends on the stereotype and how close you are to the friends. Like, if you're really close, hang out every day, then that might result in them thinking it's a pack, or they identify it as a pack, or if there's just group, or it could just be a friend group. It really depends on the person.
right, right, okay. So what about you? Because you said that you make masks and everything. You tried doing quadrobics. Do you wear like tails or like stuff like that, or ears out in public, or?
I don't own any ears. I just own a mask or a tail. I'm gonna make it. Why do I keep jumping? I don't know how. So I try and make masks and oh, try and make masks, which I do, and that's all I have. I'm gonna make a yarn tail hopefully soon. I've got all the yarn ready for it.
Oh, so you craft with yarn.
Um, so in total, you can. So on Amazon, which isn't really advised for Therians, but it's on ethnic, like, or whatever, it's like real animal fur, and you don't really want that. What you want to do is either get yarn or get a cruelty-free website and buy it off there. You never want to buy it off Temu, Shein, or Amazon.
Right. Okay, well, then at least that's there for all the Therians who are maybe watching about it. Okay, because you don't want real fur.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay.
because it's if we're trapped in this body, we might as well make a difference. Like change everything. Not no more real fur tails, animal cruelty. You just want to change that if you have the option to, which we do.
Fourth question: do you receive hate of any kind while acting out as a Therian, whether online / in real life? You told me that you
You
don't
said
do.
hate?
Yeah, like you receive hatred for anything that you do as a Therian?
So, okay. I haven't recently. Um, I think that's mostly because it's become a very accepted thing in furry, and most of the spaces that I'm in right now are furry spaces. Um, when I was younger, and I still have this blog. I used to run a blog. I still technically do, but I haven't posted there in forever. But I run a blog, and back before, God, before COVID, I guess,
Oh gosh, the
there
old
was
times.
a lot of hate that was targeted specifically at a lot of individuals on like Tumblr and stuff. But recently I really haven't had anything directed at me personally, but I've seen a lot of it in the media, like the news and everything, hatred directed at, furries and like people who identify as animals, and it's just obviously most of it's thinly veiled transphobia, but it's still like, it still hits that other side of me too.
So the fourth
Hmm.
question would be: do you receive hate of any kind while acting out as a Therian, whether online or in real life, for maybe your hobbies or
So
such?
I don't really uh seek other Therians in real life out. I'm pretty solitary, and that's also kind of helped me discover my stereotype. I'm more solitary. I prefer my own space. I mostly just observe others. I might, look at fun activities that I could do. Like, oh, here's a cool thing you could do. Go out to a park environment, go out to a field, and just, enjoy myself in a nice, secluded, quiet area. It could be anything from like a field. It could be like crawling into some mysterious hole in the ground, which I do not recommend. We do have black bears
Oh
in the
God.
state I live in, so yeah. No, the black bear is gonna be scared of me. I'll throw hands.
You throw hands?
I'll throw hands. I'll
Hell
throw
yeah,
hands with
man.
it, but
I don't know if you're gonna win, but I mean, hell yeah, go ahead
no,
go for it.
nah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. Like even actually, that actually brings up another point. Theory. I find that a lot of people who identify with the therianthropy tend to have a very strong passion for animals and the well-being of an animal. And like, I've seen Therians like put in a lot of effort to take care of their pets, take care of wildlife. There are
Right.
also there's a lot of Therians who are into taxidermy too, and that's actually where I was going to tie that in. A lot of the taxidermy you see Therians collect, a lot of them will like push ethical like collection of it, like don't buy something from a fur farm, buy it from a hunter or a rancher, someone who knows what they're doing, someone who is gonna
Experienced and
it's sad. It is sad, especially for me being someone who is connected with snakes, especially ball pythons. I've seen people sell ball python taxidermies and oddities, and it makes me
right.
sad when I see it, but at the same time I know that it's a way of preserving the animal's beauty. So at the I'm just glad it wasn't me. I'm just glad it wasn't me. But
Man,
yeah,
I used to actually own a
yeah.
snake. It was a ball python as well. We called him Bean. It was
Oh,
really
that's
such a cute snake. I loved him. So I do
yeah. I
love
have a ball
snakes.
python. His name is Kajika. He's a pastel lesser morph. He actually has het for albinism, so if I were to have him pair up with another lady snake, you could have like a potentially albino babies. So
He
that'd be
has
cool.
albinism? That is so interesting, actually. Isn't that rare with
hmm
snakes, albinism?
So actually, this might go off a little off topic with the therianthropy, but ball python morphs, the breeding that happens with ball pythons tends to there's like a lot of artificial selection where traits can be made more common, and it's funny because like in the wild, ball pythons are known to have like piebald and albinism naturally in the wild. It's not like the rarest condition. However, when people there's like the consumerism around it and kind of like the capitalism surrounding like the breeding industry. Also, another thing I'm really into is like snake breeding and such. I might not do that as a full-time job. I'm a freelance artist right now, but
Right.
that'd be another cool thing to start a
Be cool
business
to
in.
do.
But there's a lot of morphs. Oh my god, what just happened with my hands there? Yeah. But
Go crazy for a
what was the
second.
question? The other one again? I kind of went on a tangent there.
Oh, the question
Yeah.
that I already asked you. Or
Yeah.
do you
Was it the one
receive
about people picking on me?
yeah, do
Oh
you
yeah,
receive
hate.
hate or any
Um,
kind of yeah?
not for being a Therian. Being a Therian has been something once again, I keep it to myself. I express my identity through my artwork, through the art I sell, through the people, like not people I connect. I don't really connect with people, but through the masks I make and some of the clothing I make too. The only time I ever get hatred is when I wear like furry outfits. I'm like being a member of the furry fandom tends to be more of something that's targeted. So adding on therianthropy to already being a part of another really stigmatized fandom might just get me even more hated.
Do you receive hate of any kind while acting out as a Therian, whether online / in real life?
I have one Therian friend, and I don't like. They just go to like we just meet up sometimes, and I literally about an hour ago I asked if there are anybody like any Therians near me on Facebook. Just like I'm bored,
Yeah.
and yeah, like there's multiple Therian furry LGBTQ plus safe ones out there. So I've never met, anybody in real life other than this one person. But yeah.
So you don't like, because like since there isn't like people like Therians that you can hang out with in public or such, you don't really like get any hate for like walking down the street if you dress up or anything, or
Oh, I definitely have. So around like a week or two ago, I was walking and there was this group of girls like opposite me, but like to the side, and they would just started whispering to each other, and then they looked at me and said furry, and I was like, and then the people who I was walking with were like, shut up, and I was like, just stop, it's fine, I don't care, like it's gonna happen one point or another, it's fine. But like, it's definitely better if you have a group of people. Like, although I'd love to do it, I haven't really found the opportunities because you don't really see like people doing it around where I live. Because it's like, I've never met anybody like that does the same stuff. All I've met is like, I know YouTubers and one other person, and that's it. Although I'd love to do it, I've never met anybody.
Gotcha. Okay. No, it is very interesting because a lot of people really aren't like, I guess excuse me, I guess as you can put it, like brave enough to really like put on a mask and tail or ears or such or collars and walk out and just try to
Yeah,
be yourself or such. So you actually do walk around with like the mask on and such.
yeah, every now and again, and I record some videos in like my local park or something. But although I would definitely encourage more people to wear their gear as such, is what people call it. I also don't blame them for not wearing it because there's people definitely not as accepting, and like it's annoying because people will shout at you, and like, oh, angry judgmental teenagers will just be like furry, and like they'll just be rude for no reason when they can just mind their own business.
Fifth question. What do you think society could do to better itself for Therians? And I think some people are like confused on like what this question means. For example, you could talk about education. It could be pushed in schools, documentaries and stuff. Where people sit down and interview, like this, for example. I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, like, that's a thing that's really hard, is that every media portrayal of Therians and otherkin and anyone in our community has really been pretty bad, especially in the mainstream media. And like I discussed this with you earlier. That's why I was so hesitant to come here, but your channel seems like super respectful.
Right. I
So
appreciate that.
it's yeah, no, your interviews have been good. Um, but it's hard because you have to really vet the people that you're interviewing with before you ever agree to do anything, or else they will end up twisting your words and
It happens a lot, especially with
misrepresenting. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What are you gonna say?
No, it's good. It's like especially like mainstream media is awful about that, misrepresenting you and your community, and everything you said. They make it sound like you said something you didn't, and it happens so often.
Right.
So as far as like what we could do better is just let people speak on their experiences authentically without any editing. And I guess just in the realm of education, let us tell our own stories rather than listening to the people who think we're just all a bunch of lunatics, I guess.
So far talking with you, you've been very chill. You're just like any other person I've talked to, and I think you're so far a great portrayal of what the Therian community may be like. Well, I mean, I want
Well,
to say may
thank you.
is you're just very chill. You're just like everybody else. You just spiritually feel different and such, and have your own hobbies that aren't hurting anyone. So, it's
Exactly.
it's a if a different change of pace from what the Therian communities look like. Especially as VR chat interviewers that I've ever seen, and I've gotten a lot of comments. A lot of VR chat interviewers are just terrible, and they try to make furries look bad for views and all Therians and
Yeah, yeah.
whoever. So it's nice to actually be able to sit down and not only change the better for like the way VR chat interviewers can look, but at the same time for Therians as a nice fresh breath of air and what's actually portrayed. So it's good. It's good.
Absolutely, I agree. It's nice to have a real conversation.
What do you think society could do to better itself for Therians? Examples could be like education, documentaries, interviews, and such. What do you think?
I think documentaries and interviews are what are things that can deserve more coverage. Actually, one of your YouTube comments said like, certain matters like LGBTQ matters are more important in a sense. Yes, they are. I love that. We need more of that, but also I feel like we also need more of these niche ideologies like therianthropy, witchcraft, I don't more of those niche belief systems. I feel like need to be more brought up in the public because if people don't know something, they become afraid. And with fear
Right.
comes hatred, and with hatred comes prejudice. And I would say society now is kind of in that like, they're the fear of the unknown. They're afraid of Therians right now. They're kind of like, what is that, brother? Ooh, brother, what is that?
Brother,
Because they don't take the time to understand it. There's a lot of people out there who are ignorant and who believe that it's a mental illness. Actually, funny thing is when I discovered it, I really thought I had like something going on, but it's more than that. It's it's not a mental illness. Oh my god, I shouldn't say it's more than that. Oh, that came off poorly.
it's more than a mental
yeah,
illness. It's really mental illness.
Oh my god. I don't know the origins of how that happens. Sometimes people just happen to be Therians. I know that some people have described discovering themselves as a Therian, after experiencing something very traumatic. Me personally, I don't think I've experienced that type of discovery. I think I just discovered it through my love of, reptiles, my love of horses and snakes, and just my, I feel like I have a lot of empathy for animals. I care deeply. And if I wasn't going into a art degree, I would definitely do something in terms of veterinary care or animal rehabilitation because of my, compassion and love for animals. So I feel like that compassion and love that I've always had as a child has kind of just like even as a little kid, I would pick up snakes and little creepy crawlies. I've always like been someone who's like truly deeply connected with animals, and I could like never see myself not like around animals. So I guess that kind of deep connection from childhood just kind of grew into something deeper meaning to the point where it's now as part of my spirituality in a sense.
Fifth question. What do you think society could do to better itself for Therians? Examples, education, documentaries, interviews, and such.
So society could do so much better. There's a petition for Therian schools to teach quadropics, hobbies, and all that other stuff. Interviews, yes, but the news isn't doing so well. They're going, oh, these random people are like wearing cat masks and jumping around on all fours and being weird. But I don't get it. So what I think, so a Therian Day just recently passed on the 15th, and the next year is 5th. So what Therians like doing is vocals, public gearing, or just drawing the symbol on their hand. But I feel like we should like make it an official day to support Therians and like be honest with themselves.
Right. Okay. Because I remember there was the documentary about like I think it was Bella the Wolf, and it always tries to put like Therians in like a bad lighting or such. So
One sec, I just need to plug this in. I'm at 4%.
oh, it's all good.
Yeah, I'm probably just gonna be down here for the rest of the interview. Hello.
Did you ever watch the documentary about Bella the Wolf?
No, but there is one thing I've seen recently, which was this person who was live, who was like, um, just like being really like rude and going, okay, let me get this straight. And she had all her facts straight on, what was it called? On Google, and it was all correct. And there was a bunch of Therians in her chat, but then she said, I'm not apologizing. I can't remember the name of the channel, but she was like really rude about it, and there was a lot of backlash towards it. And she was like, "Okay, for the record, please stop harassing me for what I've said." So, like, she even deleted the video. Like, I feel bad to some extent, but like, you don't support it, so I'm assuming the Therians will backlash, and it will be bad for you.
Right, yeah. You never want to get yourself in drama when it comes to like the internet or something, especially as a content creator. It's not gonna end well.
Especially since all the furries are like, they're basically like, because they had dealt with it for a long time, they're just stepping up, ready to protect us. And I find it really sweet because I have a feeling it's just going to start another furry war. And it's going to be really crazy, but then we're all going to be dragged into it. So that'll be fun, won't it?
Oh God. Yep, just another war on the internet.
And not again.
You gotta love it. Oh, what's up?
But that time it was fun. This time I don't think it will be as fun because people are going to like just be absolutely rude about it because we're in the we're in 2024. What do you expect?
Right. No, that is fair. That is fair. Going off of what I was saying earlier, the Bella the Wolf documentary. Have you seen the meme where it's like on all levels except physical, I am a wolf?
I think I've seen that actually.
Because there was a lot of like I guess like like documentaries about Therians always try to paint them in a bad lighting for like views or such. Like they would tell Bella to bark at the water, and then they apparently that's what happened, and then they would, and then it just tries to make Therians look bad, at least from my knowledge. So it's like I think trying to go to like
That sounds
really,
like something people would do.
yeah, it's like trying to go to like really big like I guess like companies or you know people that at least have like an official like what is the word for it? Oh geez, I can't remember the word. They have an official audience, like a big audience. They'll always try to like spin things for
Yeah.
views or such. So it's like you gotta just be very careful as a Therian, I imagine.
And it's also, I don't know if you know this, but there was this meme where, like, Odatari, Door to Dusk?
Oh, Tatari?
Yeah, he had a song called Door to Dusk. I'm a massive fan of him, but, like, there was this YouTuber, I think it's Soda Tab, and, some other, like, she was he, they, like, their pronouns keep changing, I'm not up to date yet. But, so I'm just gonna say they were dancing to Odatari Door to Dusk, and like with the title On the Prowl, and she's a Therian too. Oh, they are Therian too. Sorry, I'm so sorry. But
Oh no, it's okay.
people made a meme out of it, and the people were going, "Don't look under the sound. There's a bunch of furries that." Not even addressing us by our proper, like, title, if you will. Therians. Like, oh, there are Therians underneath. No, it's, don't check the sound, there are furries underneath. Or there are other YouTubers that will have the, GXN, like, emoji. And,
Yeah.
like, other really bad things that could really hurt somebody. Here, you will need these when you go check the sound.
Okay. No, I think a lot of people don't really understand like Therians or like know what they are, or it can be like very easily confused with furries in a sense because it's like animals for both sides or such. So
Mm.
maybe that's why,
Going
I suppose.
going back to one question, the how could society do better to understand it? I feel like Therian Day could be like it's on the first full moon of November, but I have a feeling people could like at least take the time to research it, like put it in schools, like, hey, there's this PowerPoint that you should watch today, and put some information on it about Therians so they get less hate. Not saying the hate will stop, but just at least a little bit of the weight taken off. Because I had to take one of my videos down because people, I said stop spreading hate to Therians, furries, and stuff, and they're like, well, you need to act like a human. Like furries don't have phones, like, and I had to just take it down because like I was fine with one, and then it got overbearing, and I was like, okay, I have to take this down now.
Right, yeah, no. Being a Therian will definitely put you in a spotlight, especially for your content, because it's going to be a lot easier for people to not like you guys or furries or such to, you know, go to your videos and just see a bunch of Therians in the comments, or you know, you can tag other channels that might be Therians, and it's just very easy for people that to not like you to find you guys in that way. So that's
I know it's overbearing too. Like they don't have to do it; they just do it. It's just, oh,
to finish off, because the last question would be, are you ready for the very last question? My favorite question.
Let's go.
All right. What is one message you have to tell?
A message.
Yes.
Hmm.
Anything you wish to speak for to get to any audience or whatever you wish to do. Uh, here's your time to do it.
I guess my message to everyone really would be to listen to each other and to, open lines of communication, especially with people you don't understand. Because at the end of the day, we all have to share this rock that's floating through space at a million miles an hour around the sun. So we might as well be kind to each other in the short time that we all have here. And to all of my Therian and trans and furry people out there, be yourself. Don't let anyone take it away from you because you're beautiful and I love you.
What is one
All
message
right.
you have to tell?
If you don't know what a Therian is, and this can also apply to everything. If you don't know something, if you are unsure of what you have just, seen, what you've just discovered, don't come at it with hatred. Don't come at it with criticism. Come at it from a view of curiosity. Come at it from a view of, I don't know what this is. Why does it exist? Is it something I can relate to? Is it something I don't relate to? And if you can't connect to it, then just say, you know what, I can't connect to this. That's okay. Because, there's other things in this world that I can connect to. There's millions of different people out there, billions of different people who have the same interests as me, and other people who don't have the same interests as me. If the world was all the same, we would probably, be in a very boring place. And in terms of therianthropy, you know, just view it as a different belief. View it as a different way of, expressing oneself. It's definitely not a lifestyle. I would say that it's an identity. It's its own separate thing. And when you see people who identify as Therians or other-hearted, or people who aren't Therians who just want to enjoy the mask making and the quadrobics and like the expression of it, but not wanting to associate with it, like, those people are cool too. And just also understand that there are differences. Like here's one group of people. Here are like another. There's like a ton of different subsections of therianthropy, and people aren't going to be like super crazy about all the specifics, but just have an understanding that it's all different for every type of therian. it's all gonna be it's experienced through everyone else, like through oh my god, I said that poorly. Everyone's experience when it comes to identifying as Therian will be different. No two experiences are the same, and oh, I just had a brain fart. I'm sorry. The identity it's all unique to the individual. And if you're trying to discover if you're a Therian or not, do extensive research. Do not just jump into it. It's something that takes years, and for me, it still takes a lot of time for me too. Like I'm still discovering myself as well. But yeah, it's pretty much that. I'm probably not the best representative for this for the community because I'm one very anxious and not a very social member in the community either. So like a lot of Therians may not think of me as the best one to speak for them, but yeah, it's something.
What is one message you have to tell? It could be for anyone. You just whatever is on your mind.
Okay, I have two. Subscribe to me. Number one, subscribe to you. Number two, and number three. I have a feeling everybody should just accept people for who they are, no matter what they identify as, religion, age, sex, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just accept them. You like, although it's not said as much, people don't realize how much like they like hearing that, and they need to hear that because half of like suicide attempts or successes are due to bullying, which can also be classed as like people being rude due to identity, age, sex. You just need to accept them. Like nothing more. You don't need to be rude or anything. You just need to accept them. You like, or at least just not be rude. Like you don't have to accept them. Just don't say anything. People just don't realize how much that would mean to one person to just not be rude.
Peter, the snake horse is
Peter.
here.
Peter the horse is here. I love that shit so much. Oh my god.